Well, good morning, folks. It's the 12th day of January, Thursday, 2023. This is your host, Brody, here to bring you the morning show late as usual, right? Right, Brody? Why aren't you in your seat when the buzzer rings? Oh no, story of my life. I was talking to the principal this morning. Me and Michael Superbacker are planning a surprise party for everybody else in the stream. Hey, how you doing? It's good to see you. It's Thursday. It's the morning time. Gaming Bob's here in the house to come hang with us. Michael Superbacker, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you folks here today. Who's joining in for some morning magic stocks and a little bit of morning magic talks? Or hope you guys are doing well wherever you are at this morning, taking us on your adventures here today. Safe adventures. Wishing you the best. And somebody's got a birthday coming up this weekend, so put your hands together for my friend Michael Superbacker. Appreciate you all for joining us. All are welcome here on the channel. We got a little sip of coffee in our cup here this morning. Made it a special myself. It feels all right just to hang out with you folks here today. I need it. We're going to have a little fun here this morning. News articles to check at the news desk. It's going to be okay because the coach is in the house. Thanks for coming to all my games. Appreciate you for hanging out with us here this morning. And we may try something a little different. It's I'm gonna say guess where you saw that. It's a game. It's called Guess Where You Saw That Last. All right. Thanks a lot for joining us here this morning. Let's talk a little morning magic stocks. Where have you seen this before, right? The Hasbro price chart. Here we are. It's up 2 points today. Just a couple of points here. Hasbro stock. That's right. Put your hands together, Michael Superbacker. Uh, Congrats on making it another year on planet Earth. It's not an easy thing to do. A lot of people have moved on, but we're here. Thanks for sharing life with me. I'm your host, Brody. Today's Thursday, it's 2023. The Hasbro stock is up $1.45. $1.45 tick up in price. That's 2.5%, 2.25% for the Hasbro stock. Here this morning on the fourth trading day of this year, 6% on the week is up. And man, I'm really surprised to see that. But it's don't call no bluffs. We're this has been an interesting year so far. News, articles here for you folks today. And let's make sure my mouse is working because where are we here? There's the mouse. Uh-huh. Arrow move upward. Very nice to see. Oh, it's Thursday. It is Thursday. So guess what happens on Thursday? Get a little shout out to Mr. DJ Longhair here this morning. Roundtable is on tonight at 7 p.m. this evening. So we'll hope to be catching that this evening over at Mr. DJ Longhair's place. Twiddler's in the house, coach, and we're cheering because Hasbro stock. Where are we here? Year to date. Oh, it's up for the year. Let's go back a year. But here's what we're more expecting to see. Having a little plummet here this morning, dropping nicely into Brody's coffee cup. Here is our Hasbro stock. I wonder who's going to be picking up shares of this. Who's got this? Who's got sack enough to admit it? Is Rudy buying Hasbro stock? I don't know. I know the fella owns some of it through his own admission over on his channel. Here, let's look at the 5-year chart here for Hasbro stock. It's a lumpy, bumpy one, right? Look at this nice parabolic curve we have going on here. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Where have you seen this before? Anybody want to take a look at some AI generated magic cards? Right? Why not? What do we got here? Boros Locket. Why is this 4 mana and 4 and 1 for a Boros Locket? I don't get it. But it's a 5/4 flying vigilance monstrosity 3 for a green and 2. Let's check it out. Whenever you activate an ability of an ability named Icky of Amperate permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Boros Locket. Timeline's too short for me, just like anything, Bob says. We need patience to see where all things are in 3 to 5 and 10 years. What's our max timeline on Hasbro stock? We got the max we can go for you, Bob, is 14 years back. We can go 14 years back. Right? Looks like a buy. I mean, I'd say it does. But I mean, is this what you want to own? That's what you gotta ask yourself. Uh Being tied to this company. Boros Locket. I'll bite. What do you folks think of this one? We're not rating AI generated magic cards here this morning on the show. Full art image for Boros Locket. Let's take a look at the next one. Basic Swamp. Okay. What else we got here? Guardians. A Planeswalker. What do you make it? What do you guys think of this one? Coach owns a couple of shares of the Hasbro stock. Yeah, it's time to. It's a good time to pick up a couple more. It looks pretty low. 1 black, a blue, a white, and 5 loyalty planeswalker. This is what we get for 6 mana. This 5 loyalty planeswalker. +1, tap all enchantments. Okay, a -1, search your library for a planes card from among them and put it into your hand. Any player may activate this ability. So a planes +1 on a planeswalker that anyone can do. And the -7 is draw a card for each loyalty counter removed this way. Draw 2 cards, shuffle up to 4 cards, then scry 2, then draw 2 cards. Each player draws a card for each artifact with mana value equal to Guardian's power. You gain 1 life. That seems really complicated. Draw a card for each loyalty counter removed this way. So 7. Then draw 2 cards. Shuffle up to 4 cards in. Then scry 2. Then draw 2. Each player draws a card for each artifact mana value equal to Guardian's power. You gain a life. All right, this card doesn't seem too bad. What do you guys think? Welcome to the show, folks. It's Thursday. We're going to have a few Magic talks with you folks here today. And we're going to look at some Magic the Gathering stocks. But for right now, we're not reviewing AI generated Magic cards. Because that's what they do on another Magic the Gathering channel. So we're not going to do it. That's not what we're going to do. Don't rate this card. What do you guys think? Morning, Alan. Happy to have you here. It's too early in the morning for a card like this. I agree, bro. I agree, Bob. It's way too early for this. All right, what else we got here? Curry Sealer. Card's got split second. Uh, for a white and two, this legendary instant evation has split second and counters target spell. What do you think of this card? You don't like it when people steal your curry, do you? The Curry Stealer. What do you think of this card? It's this is about this card to be appropriate around lunchtime, I would think. We look like we got some butter chicken happening in the art here today. How do you like this card here, Coach? It seems okay. It seems okay. A lot less complicated than that last one. Mm-hmm. Interesting art on this. It's kind of a beauty, isn't it? All right. We're checking out some we're not reviewing AI generated magic cards here this morning. Why would we? There's another channel out there that already does that. So like this card, what do you make of these are all AI generated cards, Michael. These are these are cards that somebody made. This card is very flavorful, right, Alan? I like it. It's totally flavorful. Yeah, these are all generated AI generated magic cards off the Robo Rosewater site on the internet. How about this one, Michael? Double Bannery, 2 green and 5. All right, for an instant, 7 mana instant. What do you think? Here we go. Spells your opponent's cast that target one or more creatures that player don't control could produce. You gotta finish the rest. It doesn't have the rest of the card. It just says spells your opponent's cast that target one or more creatures that player don't control could produce. It does nothing else. That's it. Oh man, what do you think of this card? Makes no sense. It doesn't. Move it. Let's move on. Some interesting art for it. This island looks pretty cool. Look at this art on this island. It's like a couple of little houses on this floating basic land. Wow. I'm impressed. If you get on the internet and you look at what the AI is doing, people are asking it all kinds of questions, and there's different AI bots. Totally right, Alan. It raises a lot of red flags. Keep your eye out for AI. What spell? Yeah, right, Twiddler. What does it do to the spells? LOL, ban them? No, yeah, I know that's a nice island. It really is. There's little homes built on the cliffside of this island. I really like it. How you folks doing? You joining me for some morning magic talks here? Sabari. Okay, here's the next card up here. Sabarl in Beth. Okay, it's a 1/3 creature, blue siren creature type. Like you know those sea callers, the ones that always like tempting the siren's call, Brody's call. Okay, sorry, no singing, Brody. Sabarl and Beth, 1 blue and 2 for this 1/3 just creature type siren. It's got flash and exploit. Okay, exploit must be a new keyword, or is that the one that? No, that's extort. Okay, when Sabarl in Beth exploits a creature, counter target activated ability. Wow, that seems reasonable to have on a card. Branching evolution. What do you think of this card? Let me know. We're taking a look at some computer generated magic cards here this morning. Seeing what you guys think, seeing what the AI has is capable of coming up with. It seems like it seems like maybe some cause for concern. What is the AI? Uh, what is the AI up to? Right? It makes you wonder. Reasonable card, right? Super reasonable. What do you think of the Siren card here? This one seems pretty interesting. Siren creature type. Doesn't seem too bad. I'd play it. I mean, it seems playable. It doesn't actually seem too bad. If we knew what this exploit mechanic was, it'd be a lot better, but yeah, let's check it out. Let's see here. Maybe I can move the chat box going here for you folks. What is the exploit mechanic? I don't really know. I don't know what exploit is. They're gonna have to. This AI bot is gonna have to, give us a few more, give us a few more rules. If it doesn't mind, give us a few more rules. Because I don't know what exploit is. Sorry, guys. Let's take a look at another one here. Mutter back renewer burl. All right. A 3/3 golem with some amazing art on it. Two mana and a blue to get you this card into your collection. It says, Coach says AI generated essays are a big problem for college and high school. No doubt, right? Ah, I never even thought of that. That's insane. They're so well written, it's hard to tell if it's an AI or a human. Wow. When a creature exploits, it enters. Okay, Bob's got us here. When a creature exploits the battlefield, the player may sacrifice a creature. Each creature with exploit has another ability that gives the player a benefit when they exploits a creature. Okay, that's what it is. Jeez. Brody's such a noob, right? How does he not know how to exploit a creature? Thanks for giving Bob. Uh, for the comment there. So what do you think of this card, the Mutterback Renewer Burl? It's kind of a neat. The Kookaburl Renewer Burl lives in an old gum tree, milling all the players he can see. Pay 2, target player mills X cards, where X is the number of power cards in your hand. The number of power cards in your hand. Is that like Power 9? Is there a different type? Wow. Okay. What are we thinking here? MTG crossover with Slay the Spire. Vic Gaming on Discord. Hmm. This is a discard submission. Pretty neat card. The Mutterbag seems busted. Yeah, right, Alan? Okay, let's check this out. Let's go to this next one. Over ever. A black and 4. Target player sorcery. Target player chooses a creature you don't control. You get an energy for each player with the most night creatures you control. This doesn't make any sense either. What are power cards? No idea. It's the AI is a little needs to give us a little bit more information. Is it power 9? I'm not too sure. This one goes back. It actually puts energy in it. So it says for each player with the most night creatures you control. It could say like they control, if or night bound creatures might be better for this one. Over ever. It gives you energy. I don't think this is any good. This seems like a flop to me. It's energy's not coming back. It was kind of a parasitic mechanic anyway. So yeah, I didn't see the power either, Alan. Don't worry. Nobody knows what the power cards are. It's just something the AI has come up with. Over ever? We're giving this one a pass, or Coach's Magic AI generated YouTube content possible too. Doubt. No doubt. This is Brody Bot. This is your Brody Bot here, bringing you some AI generated magic cards. We're not reviewing AI generated magic cards because there's already an AI channel on the internet that does that. So we're just gonna take a look at them and ask what you think. How about this one? An enchantment, colorless enchantment by the looks of it. This seems cool. I think this looks like interesting. Mage's Fury, a 0 mana enchantment that's colorless. We haven't seen a 0 mana enchantment yet in Magic, have we? That seems pretty interesting. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return a creature you control to its owner's hand. Really? That seems all right. For 0, you get to blink stuff once a turn. What do you think? This actually, to me, this seems like playable. But I don't want to. Well, who cares what I think? I want to hear what you think. What do you think of this one here? Bob, Mage's Fury, 0 mana, colorless enchantment card. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return a creature you control to its owner's hand. It's not blink, it is busted, but return. Yeah, it's not quite blink. It's just return. So you get to return something. Maybe it's a cheap creature or a creature that costs less, and you want to recast it again to maybe get some cast triggers like some impact tremors. This seems broken. This seems really easy to break. This card, especially with something like kobolds or affinity, where you can recast everything and maybe get a bunch of triggers. It seems pretty busted. Mage's Fury. This is busted, definitely. Okay, let's go. Let's go. What's the next one? What else do they got for us? Royal. Royal. Hmm. Let's check this one out. Royal. This is an Orz. I'm gonna make a little cup of coffee. This is an Orzhov card, a black. So it's a black, a white, and one. This seems too cheap. Royal for this instant. Destroy target land, counter target spell. This seems too good. It's like so few mana. It's it's only one colored mana and a colorless. For this instant, I like the art on it. I do like what they're doing with the full art borderless. Seems like a pretty good job. Who comes up with these anyway? Ah, with flash, right? It needs flash. Yeah, the enchantment needs flash. What do you folks think of Royal? We are checking out some. We are not reviewing AI generated magic cards because there's already a channel on YouTube that does that. So we're just taking a look at these AI generated magic cards and asking what you think. Morning, folks. A little magic talks here this morning. We'll be checking some magic stocks. It's your host Brody. It's just coming up to the hour. We'll be on about half past the hour with you folks here today. We got the coach in the house. We're checking out some magic cards. This ain't bust. It's too good, and it's in a weird color for pairings for the effect. Right, this card totally breaks the color pie. I don't think we'd ever see this printed. It's like Mana Tithe. It's like Mana Tithe, but straight up counter the spell and boomer busts maybe or stone rain for less. It's too good, right? Wrong colors. It's things out of what's the AI thinking, right? Like really, it is right out of the. It is busted. Okay, move. We're gonna give it a fail. Wow, look at this plains. Pretty nice art on this basic full art land plains card. I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing here this morning. What do you think? Checking out some AI generated magic cards. Hmm. Yeah, if you want to go check these out yourself, you can just head on over to this Robo Rosewater site on Twitter. They've got all kinds of they got one a day or something like that. So we're just going over to take a look at some of these. Pretty great art. Coach says that the AI is now writing college essays for college students. What do the tradespeople do? We can't do it. You can get into college and get a degree using AI bots to write your college degrees. Can it do your shop projects for you too? Unfortunately, at this point, no. But we'll see what we'll see what happens here in the future. I think like Brody wants to know where his jetpack is. Like, did you know George Jetson was born in the year 2022? I think so. Yeah, right. So we were promised a whole lot more by this era. We're supposed to have like quite a few advances in technology that, quite frankly, I just think we just don't have them. We're not allowed to have them. Like this card, we can't have a Selesnya Giant. Interesting. Let's check out this card, a blue card. I really like the brushstroke type art on this card. Selesnya Giant, an enchantment. Okay. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Mill 3 cards instead. If you do draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. What? This thing seems pretty complicated. I have to read this again. It's like, dost my eyes deceive me? There's far too much text going on this card for 2 mana. And for this early in the morning, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile 3 cards from your graveyard. I guess if you can't, you mill 3 cards instead. And then if you do, you draw 3 cards, then discard 2. Huh. This is ultra card selection, except it costs you a lot out of the bin, or you might end up flipping some cards off the deck. What do you think of the Selesnya Giant? To me, it feels like the Selesnya Giant should be like a creature card. It does. Like it's named aptly to be a creature. There's even a picture of a giant, just a blue-green giant. And it's not. Where's the Selesnya Giant? It's in blue. So it should be green and white to be named Selesnya. I don't know. I think it's letting us down. It's not Selesnya, nor a giant, right? No, it's not. Meh. Right? Well, let's we're giving this one a we're gonna give this one a thumbs down. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's check the next one here. Selesnya Giant. All right. Before we get too carried away, Sirgan the Mighty. Okay, Sirgan the Mighty. 4 mana for this 0/0 artifact beast. Rat the Bumbling the next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn. I have no idea what Rat the Bumbling is. Tap target creature can't block this turn. What is Rat the Bumbling? Uh so far I think the lands are good, but we're not really doesn't seem like we're batting a whole lot here this morning. A very low average on these AI generated magic cards. Sirgan the Mighty. We're gonna give this one. What do you think? But I want to give this one a. I'm gonna give this one a failing grade. Yeah, it's a 0/0, right? So it just dies the minute it comes into play. We're gonna give that one a thumbs down. All right. Sorry, Sirgan the Mighty. Might do one more here. The Robber Angel. All right. Horror Whale. 2 mana for this horror. So 0/3 with Improvise. When you cast this spell with mana value 1 or There's nothing else or nothing else. I think we got to give this one a thumbs down too. I don't think it makes much sense. The text in the card is lacking. Animing. I don't know what animing is, but that seems to be another made up keyword. It's not an angel. It's a whale. It's named Rubber Angel. It's a whale horror, and the art does look more like a whale than an angel. I think we're gonna give this one a failing grade too. You're out of here, Robert Angel. Sorry you gets no love here on the channel. Check it out. Some of these AI generated magic cards here this morning. It's a good time. And we're checking out the Hasbro stock price. It dies immediately, right? 0-0 doesn't really help us in the game. Let's see if we got over at the stock desk. Anything good? New articles, perhaps. January 10th. Ooh, look at this. Modern Times, Tarmogoyf, Snapcaster, and Bob. Oh, hey. We got some news for you today, Bob. Some modern times with Corey Williams. Let's read this article here by the new writer over at the stock desk, Corey, kicking off a series called Modern Times, looking at some modern staples that have fallen out of favor, including the Tarmogoyf, Snapcaster, and Bob. That's dark confident for anybody new to Magic. Dark Confidence got a special name. We call him Bob, and there's a little bit of a backstory for that. Maybe we can get into that here with you folks here today. This one's article brought to us by Corey Williams, fourth year economics PhD at Western Virginia University. Thanks, Corey, for bringing us this article called Modern Times. You may be asking yourself if Modern Horizons 2 has been around for so long, what's left to speculate on? Well, one could think modern in terms of cards that appear in Modern Horizons 2 and cards that don't appear in Modern Horizons 2 as reprints, and how that's imperishable that Modern Horizons 2 has been for the formats. Modern Horizons 2, there's much to be said about the negative space of the cards not in Modern Horizon 2 that may have fallen off the radar across the colored pie. Modern Horizons 2 has shaken up the core staples in Modern, outside the obvious Modern Horizons 2 cards mentioned above, like Dragon Rage Channeler. This is a card that's really seen a lot of popularity in Murktide in Modern. And Unholy Heat, another card that's like 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or 6 if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard. 6 damage for 1 mana on an instant with Unholy Heat. So that's a card that we want to keep our eyes on, that are also see prolific play among other gems like Urza's Saga, also out of Modern Horizons 2, and Esper Sentinel. All this may say that Modern as a format today is vastly different in comparison than it was prior to Modern Horizons 2. Has Modern Horizons 2 changed the format by printing a lot of cards and then like also choosing not to print certain cards? I think that's the point that Corey's getting at here. In some cases, hitting lows once thought to be nearly impossible. With this in mind, I'd like to talk about 3 specific former staples of Modern format that are worth adding to your collection sooner than later. The first one being Tarmogoyf. Okay, Goyfy boy, here's a card like when I sort of stepped back into Magic because I had taken a break. Goyf was all the rage, and like the time shifted, time spiral. What's the original Goyf? I think it is. Yeah, it was over $100, like $125, and like that was when like uh the Rock the deck, the Rock, which is was a popular deck. And Jund was actually a thing. So the Rock was a deck that played Tarmogoyf, Liliana the Veil, the original Liliana, Thoughtseize, and black and green. A really powerful deck that includes removal cards like Abrupt Decay and the Tarmogoyf. So that was and I was like, oh my god, Modern's so expensive. I'm never gonna play Modern. So then I just stuck to like draft and standard. And the Goith has sort of fallen out of favor in modern for other cards that cost like 1 mana, like a Ragavan. And you get just so much for 2 mana these days that the Goith has seen reprints. And now like the Goith price is down to a place where we can all pick it up. And I've even opened a couple of Goiths, right? Uh MTG Gaming Bob has a interesting comment for me here. He says, my favorite AI card you showed us was the island. I may have some proxied up. That island is nice. Yeah, no doubt. Let's bring that island up here for anyone who wants to take a quick look at it. And then we're going to talk about the Tarmogoyfi boy. The swamp. Here's the swamp. Look at this. Uh, the the art in the swamp. I really do like this style, right? The swamp looks pretty nice to me. But Gaming Bob likes the island, and I gotta agree with Bob here. Man, alive! Here we are. Check this out. That's a beauty. She's a beauty, eh? You know what card we like today? This card. Right here. The island. The full art island. This one gets a pass. This one gets a ding ding ding. Thanks for playing. We like this card. All right, let's thanks, Bob. Let's take a look at this Tarmogoyf. There used to be a saying that an ounce of Tarmogoyfs are worth more than an ounce of gold. Well, the gold standard has certainly fallen out of favor in recent times, and its unit price shows it. While one could argue that reprints in Modern Masters 15, and Ultimate Masters helped to drag the price down to an influx of new pairings in the market, I would argue that the biggest drop in the price of Tarmogoyfs in the last year is largely attributed to changes in demand. In particular, Jund decks love their playsets of Tarmogoyf. However, the advent of Death Shadow synergies has largely replaced old school Jund's place in the format. Although there are some boomer Jund decks that true nostalgics will play regardless, financially speaking, all a non-foil Ultimate Masters Tarmogoyf would have cost you an average price of around $40 in June of 2021, right when Modern Horizons 2 was released. Today, you would have no trouble picking up the same copy for around 13 bucks. After a year of Modern Horizons 2 shocking the format, would see Tarmogoyf has really been pushed out of the format relevance for now. Almost all versions of Tarmogoyf seem to be trending down, albeit at a much slower rate with each passing day. A nicety about Tarmogoyf in particular is that it has a very accommodating mana cost that is still on curve with almost all competitive decks in the format. Yeah, Tarmogoyf only costs one colored mana pip, one green and one. The incentives to swap Tarmogoyfs back into their previous decks may be low at the moment, but given how fluid Modern is, its position in the format could change in an instant. Pun intended. If you ever wanted to procure a full set of Tarmogoyfs, you would be hard pressed to find a better opportunity to do so than now. Thank you, Corey. Tarmogoyfs, here you go. I couldn't agree more. Here's a card. This card may have fallen out of favor, but like if you're new to Magic, you know, this is a card that's been smashed and bashed with the reprint hammer over and over again. Ultimate Masters, Double Masters, Modern Horizons. It's fallen out of favor. Let's keep on going. Pick yourself up a Tarmogoyf, 13 bucks. All right. I like it. Snapcaster. Here's a card like this used to be like currency in the day. You got a play set of Snapcasters. I wish this chart went back farther. Let's go. Let's do something here that we can't do without being Brody. All right. Let's check out the price of Tarmogoyf. I want to actually give some context. Tarmogoyf. Future Sight. That's the one. Original Tarmogoyf boy from Future Sight. Here we go, a Lurgoyf. Oh, let's bring this back. I want you folks who didn't play in January in 2014. If you like, did you play in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015? If you didn't, I want you to take a look at this price chart for Tarmogoyf. Check this out. Like, this is the Future Sight version. Here, we're like hitting $130, right? Like, this is insane for a modern card. That's what it cost you, right? You got shock lands, fetch lands, Tarmogoyfs, uh, all like that's what we're hitting right here. Like that's a lot of money for a Magic card, especially in modern, right? Or in any format. Now it's this one, the original Goif. It's $34.39. It's trended down. So like this is the original card. Could you imagine being even being a young player in 2015 and like looking peering into the modern format and needing to come up with what are we here, 189 bucks, 190, $200 for a Tarmogoyf, so a playset's 800 US. That's a real hard access point. So just give you an idea what modern looked like. Then you still need the Lilianas, you need the shock lands, you need the abrupt decays. So this deck, like the Rock, was where are we here? Jund Saga is now Jund. They don't the Rock isn't like even a thing anymore. The Rock is dead. The Rock is just a namesake deck for the green black. Jund without red, I guess, eh? Crazy. So now this chart here, it only goes from 20 down to 2 to 10 to $13. But just to give you a little bit of retrospect on the Goif was $200, right? Ed, Ed from the Dual Brain channel. We're talking a little Magic stocks and a little Magic talks here. Tarmogoyf. If you're new to Magic, that's a good time to pick up the Goif because it's $13 and it was 200. You know, it's a little bit more accessible. Let's go. Snapcaster Mage is the pride of most control decks, was the pride of most control decks, and a format staple for any deck that was even remotely blue. The ability to turn part of your graveyard into a reusable resource at instant speed with low mana investment was and still is an invaluable interaction in any format. Couldn't agree more. However, as Modern has drifted away from control and mid range builds where Snapcaster would ordinarily shine, so too has its price drifted away from its peak. We can see in inherent months that both the average and prices of market price for Modern Horizon 17 Snapcaster still hits around $20. Looking at its price history, we see one more that it peaked around $80 right before Modern Horizons was released and continues to trend down through to the present day. So Snappy, let's check it out. Let's give a little bit of context with Snapcaster Mage because you can't get that from this chart here that only goes back 2 years, showing it trending down from like just a couple of bucks, like 30 down to 20. You can't really get the feel for how like if you're new to Magic in the last 5 years, you can't get a feel for how like Modern felt when this card was like Bolt Snap Bolt was a thing, right? It's still a thing, but it's just not like Delver's not a deck anymore, right? So like let's roll the Snapcaster back to the early days. Yeah, we're like $100 bill, right? 80. This is the original Snappy here. So we got like $80 1, 2, 3 times, right? It's hit it. So maybe Snapcaster has been as high as $80 or $100, and if you wanted a foil version, you could pay even more. If it's full bodied and full bodied and full bordered and fully roasted in your cup, the Snapcaster Mage will tell you what's up. Primary culprit in accelerating Snapcaster's downward price would be the Ledger Shredder. Yeah, for the 2 mana slot, but not because it's directly substitution for Snapcaster, but rather that Modern has grown to encompass more tempo-oriented decks, and cards like Ledger Shredder are a strict improvement for generating card advantage early and often to accelerate the pace of play and close out games efficiently. If you were to look at an Izzet Murktide deck, currently 10 to 15% of the meta share, depending on where you look, would see Ledger Shredder as a frequent inclusion. However, one could easily imagine slotting Snapcaster into Murktide decks to capitalize on a slew of instants and sorceries that fuel its engine, such as Lightning Bolt, Expressive Iteration, and Unholy Heat. Bolt, Snap, Bolt, like we were just talking about. Head to head, a Murktide deck with Snapcaster instead of Ledger Shredder is strictly worse. It is that reality holding Snapcaster at the moment. However, the last card on our list provides some commentary on how Snappy could flash back again, pun intended, to its former glory. More on that in just a moment. The market price for Snappy looks very close to bottoming out if it hasn't already. If you ever wanted a full set of Snapcaster mages for Modern Brew, Speculation Commander, or in any other format, realistically, this card is playable in almost any format it's legal in. Then now would be an excellent time to pull the trigger on a Snapcaster mage. I would tend to agree here very strongly. I would. These modern cards, like Brody tries to stay away from buying into modern cards. I really do. I try to stay away from it, especially if a card okay. So let me give you a little bit. Just disclaimer. Hello, Lion Tamer. How you doing, folks? I seriously, uh, let's talk about it. Uh, for Brody, my ceiling level for a standard card when it's in rotation is $40. Okay, $40 to $45. I personally put a cap on it that way, and that's just because you got to have you got to draw the line somewhere. You really do. So I say $40 to $45 is the most I'll buy into a standard card for when it's in rotation. I'll try and open it. At that point, I'll just crack packs and try to open the card because that's just sort of like where my comfort level is at. Carnage Tyrant and like if a card is and if I open it and it's like $40 to $60 in standard when standard was played, I would likely if I wasn't playing it or if I had any extra copies, I would be buy listing them. That's sort of where I set my personal ceiling level for buying into standard cards and a modern card. I mean, it's really hard to spend it. Well, it's not hard to spend $100 on a modern card, but like around the $80 is kind of like double that. If it's a card that I need for modern or even in a play set, like I don't really want to spend like $80 on a Snapcaster Mage. I wouldn't do it. I would, especially because modern is so risky. I would wait for a reprint, even shock lands, fetch lands. The 40 like unless you really have to have it, I wouldn't spend like a tough time to get Brody to spend more than $60 on a modern card. Personally, I will wait for it to come into a reprint because that's usually when you start to see them get hit. Cards can like the Mycosynth Golem, are probably targets like they're reaching the point at where like I wouldn't buy it. I would try and pick it up for 8, 10, or 12. But Mycosynth Golem is an example of like if you didn't buy it before the new year, if Brody didn't pick it up before the new year, I wouldn't be buying it at these levels. I'd wait for a reprint because I know it's going to happen. So anybody who picked up like a Mycosynth Golem or before the holidays or before the price peaked up when we were talking about it here on the show, that's what I'm talking about. Brody, a little pro tip here from your folks at the stock desk. So like let's check it out here. Mycosynth. Mycosynth Golem. Let's just take a look here. 5th on card. This card is getting like this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about for this. This card is 4284. It's it's Commander's kind of pushing this card, but it is also legal in modern. You guess you could play this in modern if affinity became good enough, and it might at some point, but this is about as much as I'd want to pay. If I had to, I would trade into it. You know, if it's getting up to about the $60 for Brody, nice time to buy into a card like this that's in modern, you know, around a $20 level. You know, of course, if you can catch it, like Tom Mitchell, before the price spikes up to 40, that's about the tops is what I've really been willing to pay for, like, you know, blood, sweat, and tears in cash. And then I would say for a card like this, definitely would trade for it or buy lists for it and try and get it for a little less cash, maybe a little more trade. Let's go to our next card here. This she's a beauty. She's a beauty. Art Confident, the Bob card. There is other art. So if you don't know why they call this card Bob, let's bring up some different because there's so many like hidden jokes in Magic the Gathering, and if you don't know what they are, then it seems like the joke's on you. So this card here, like there's Bob here. There's a picture of a dude on this card. I think this was like a Ron. Is this a yes? It's a Ron. It's a Ron art. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Ron Spears. So the Ron Spears version of the Art Confident features this guy, and I believe his name is Bob. And there may have been like a tournament win involved where this person got to like get featured on a card. If anybody knows the story, that's sort of what it is. But for namesake, it's since then been referred to as Bob. However, they're not showing that card here, so it can be a little bit confusing. But that's okay. We'll jump the gap for you here this morning. Brody's got you covered. Dark Confident, or Bob, as he's popularly and affectionately known as, was once the main card advantage engine in decks like Jund, Abzan, and I'll say it, The Rock, like we were talking about earlier. The Rock is just Jund with no red. Pre-Modern Horizons 2 Death Shadow builds, while Dark Confidence has been trending down over several years. Prior to Modern Horizons 2, the Modern Masters Edition, it was sitting around $40 and trending upward until it peaked slightly after Modern Horizons 2 and began to fall. So this is like how Wizards would sort of get Brody interested in uh, in the this is sort of how Wizard would get Brody interested in picking up new products. Is like a reprint like this with Bob. It's a card that I mean I wouldn't pay 40 or 60 or 80 bucks for it. So like when it sees a reprint, I'm likely to crack packs. And like there's a lot of people that may kind of fall into that sort of comfort zone with buying cards. Let's check it out. Dark Confident, more affectionately named, adds card advantage to your deck. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library. Put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. Okay, Bob from Modern Horizon, Modern Masters 1 will run you around $20. Obvious reason for Bob's demand and downfall is simple. Ragavan, the nimble pilferer, and to a lesser extent, Ledger Shredder. Ragavan became one of the value one Ragavan at 1 mana value, along with the card advantage he can generate through his dash mechanic, exceeds Bob's practical value considering. Ragavan, in turn, gets you an additional card and additional mana via the treasure tokens. It should should it deal damage to your opponent. Bob gets you an additional card for staying in play, but at the cost of life. Additionally, because Ragavan can be dashed, it's very easy to capitalize on Ragavan's power before it gets targeted by removal. In order to capitalize on Bob, you have to patiently wait a turn. By the time that waiting period is over, he's likely already met his demise. Outlined for many reasons why Bob is inferior to Ragavan, which is no surprise. Ragavan has been ripe with the ban list speculation and has had a target on its back since it was spoiled. Not many cards on the modern chopping block since Yorion, the Sky Nomads banning, but make no mistake about it that Ragavan's Sword of Damocles hanging over its head, and it won't take much for it to fall. While Bob's price continues to trend downward, it might be worth picking up a playset for speculation's sake. Bob is objectively still terrific in classic card advantage. It's a value game in the game is readily apparent, even noticing players and collectors. Should come the time when Ragavan finds himself on the ban block. Bob will certainly be waiting to resume his place at the format's premier value engine. So second to Ragavan, Bob has sort of fallen out of favor. Prices drifting down, and that kind of see it reflected here. Alan Cahoon says, with the way WotC is doing reprints these days, I wouldn't be doing anything by buy lists and using store credit to get modern cards. Murray Cooper says, I wonder which cards have replaced these staples as the pricey must have these days. I really don't do modern. Okay, so yeah, that's a really good comment, Murray. I guess like Ragavan has replaced Dark Confident for card draw. Simply speaking, I really it's hard to keep up with modern prices. MTG Gaming Bob says that I guess it's the based on the mana value, right? The price is before the current WotC leadership was in place, and reprints were fairly rare, even not non-reserve list cards. Dual Brains stopping by to say hi. It feels like it's Commander the Gathering now. Yeah, so Ragavan has replaced Bob, and Ledger Shredder has replaced Snapcaster Mage. I guess that's sort of the point we're seeing here. It is a good one. And Tarmogoyf, I mean, yeah, like there's just so much stuff in the 2 mana slot. You name it, right? Thanks to Corey over at the Stock Desk for writing this article. Appreciate you, Corey Williams. Let's give a shout out to Corey, level 1 judge, been writing for these folks for a while, into CEDH and Cube, loves running, teaching, and the occasional cult movie. From what University of Morrowtown, West Virginia, considers himself a macroeconometrician, with his research body reflecting work applied in macroeconomics. Well, thank you, Corey. Thanks a macro. Thanks a macaroni. Appreciate you for writing this article for the viewers here on the channel, Morning Magic Stocks and Talks with Brody. Look at this. Let's look at the. Do you like checking these prices of Magic cards? Like, does it seem like fun? I like reading these articles. I do check the prices every single day to see where they're at, what's moving. First place I like to stop. Oh, it's the legacy side. I do. Let's take a quick look here. Tabernacle at Pandrel Vale. Fungasaur. Ali from Cairo. Counterspell. And the Kobold Overlord. There's some real interesting stuff here, though. I mean, Kobolds are going to see a return. They really are. Would you look at that? It's about half past the hour. This is Brody. Appreciate you folks for tuning in, sharing the morning coffee time with me. Really like to give a shout out to all the folks joining us on the channel. Thanks for bringing me with you on the show today. Look at that Fungasaur go. Right, Michael Superbacker? Let's check him out. Hope you enjoyed the show here this morning. Michael Superbacker, thanks for joining. Coach, coming to all my games. MTG Gaming Bob, appreciate you for joining us in the great comments in the comment section. Murray Cooper, Alan Cajon, Coach, Ed over at the Dual Brain channel, Twiddler from Twiddler's Place, the friends, the fans of Magic the Gathering, the ones who love the game as much as we do. What do you call it when a group of apes starts a business? Monkey business. What did the police officer say to his belly button? You're under a vest. And what do you call a pudgy psychic? That's a fortune teller. Thanks for joining me here, folks. Appreciate you once again. This is your host, Brody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Final tally.